Welcome to the Keystone Experience. Rob Warwick
and Matt Pitzer.
Brought to you by Creek Archery. Find your passion and hunt it down.
And Hillview Motors, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Remember, Hillview has it in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, we got a special guest here tonight, Mr. Skip Peterson from Gearhead Archery. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how you doing? Well, it's cold today in Wisconsin. I don't know what you have in PA, but we struggle to get out of the 30s today.
Yeah, it's cold here. It was warm this morning when I left for work, but it was just snowing a little bit ago and 50-mile-an-hour winds. So I guess
it's hard to know how to dress in the morning. You know, we've had really warm, which we've gotten used to, and now all of a sudden it's like winter's coming back again.
Yep, I don't think spring's ready to bless us with her presents yet.
No.
Hey, buddy, let's I guess we should start from the beginning then, I guess, huh? How did Gearhead Archery come about?
Oh, that goes back a ways. I mean, that goes back to like 2008. You know, our history is from the robotics side of making insulated glass windows. So, my partner and I, we would design automated equipment that would make insulated glass windows. And, you know, that was kind of a lot of our history. Well, as life kind of comes at you, he left the window industry, moved out to Buffalo, Wyoming. And then the president of the company we used to work with, he left that position as well, but he wasn't done with the window industry. So he had some ideas. So I moved out to work with my partner out in Buffalo, Wyoming, Paul Trapowski. And we were basically trying to invent a different way to make a glass window. And, you know, we were hunting in the bighorns and we were hiking back in 4, 5, 6 miles, you know, just to get back where the elk are. And we got tired of lugging these bigger, heavy bows. So we're like, you know, from the engineering standpoint, it's like, well, what can we make that'll make the hunting, the travel, and to get back into our spots a little bit easier? And we're into the minimalistic type hunting. So the first bows we designed were actually, you know, we were eating at a rib joint, and I know it's a little cliche, but, you know, we basically had a bunch of napkins and we started making sketches of what we thought we could do with a bow. And, you know, we kind of threw things out there, like we weren't really that educated in what makes a bow tick, but, you know, from an engineering standpoint, we could figure things out. And it was actually good that we didn't have a history with what bows are meant to be, because that's kind of how we got to the point that we did. Like, nothing was impossible. We wanted to have no crossover cables and all these different, we had to have, you know, limbs that didn't flex, and we were trying to build power with compression springs and just all these different bows that ended up looking more like movie props than a weapon to go hunting with. And you know, I told Paul, I said I'd give him, like, he would design it and I would machine it. And we went really briskly from one design to another. And after about 8-9 months, we were really close. And when you get really close, it's like, we'll go farther. We ended up with like 14 to 15 different bow models. And then we went around to the different archery manufacturers and pitched our ideas. You know, because we were just thinking it was just going to be us designing and coming up with stuff. And it'd be nice just to go to the mailbox and pick up a royalty check for some of the things that you've come up with. And some of our early designs, they were actually gear driven. So down through the chassis of the plates, we had a series of gears, and that's what we set the timing with. Well, and we also got our name. You know, early on, we're going to be called Gearhead Archery because the gears were you know, the early part of the bow, but we learned out really quickly that the gears were just a lot of weight. They weren't that efficient, and they didn't really bring a lot to the table when you're trying to hit, you know, speeds and stuff like that. So we kind of put that aside and went in a different direction. It's just about trying things, see what works, and then adjusting and just keep trying. And just, you know, every time you make a mistake, and something doesn't work, it gets you a little bit closer to what you want to achieve. So we went around, pitched our idea to all the manufacturers. I remember the long trip to Bowtech, and one of our designs, the CEO of Bowtech at the time said, you can reverse draw that, and that kind of got us into the crossbow side of some possibilities and things. So we kind of looked at it like anything is possible, and over the course of about a year and a half, Paul ended up selling he packaged about 17 patents together, and he ended up selling it to one of the major manufacturers, and they're kind of sitting on some of those ideas. And then we just couldn't let it go. So we ended up coming up with the little bow, which some companies, they start out with the bigger bows and then they go smaller. We actually started with the smallest bow you could make. It was 18.5 inches axle to axle. If we went any smaller, the peep would end up in the string track. So that was the limit of how small we could go. Is another, if we would have went 18 inches, the peep for me to see, I have a 29-inch draw, would have been to the tip of the string track when it fired. So that's where we ended up stopping at that. And also too, the design that you see of our bows with the two side plates with the horizontal members, that was more or less because I was in Buffalo, Wyoming. I only had manual equipment to machine with, and I didn't really have the CNC stuff to make these elaborate looking risers that you see from our competition. They're basically, I could machine side plates and put standoffs in it, and I could make like a shoot through system, and we could test different things with that. So that's kind of how we got to the design that you see today. Was basically, I didn't have the capabilities to do the fancier risers, and actually I love the shoot through style that we've created, and you can convert it to right to left-handed. It just has lots of characteristics that brings advantages to the archer.
Now, I was telling Rob before we got on here, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you guys at some point you had that short 18 and a half inch bow.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a really long release available to shoot that?
We did. I mean, like I say, you live and learn. I mean, in our minds, or Paul's mind, I guess I give him the credit for that, is we thought you could design one bow and then get it into different archers with different length releases. So we created one 18.5 inch axle bow that had a 25-inch draw, and you could make them in 40, 50, 60, and 70 pounds. And then since I'm a 29-inch draw, I would use a 4-inch extended release. So basically my string would be that far from my face. And how I made that work is on the shank of the extended release, I would put O-rings, and they would act as a kisser button. So when I would come back, I could put it right in the corner of my mouth, and with the peep in that, it would allow me to get really consistent even with the longer release. But in retrospect, everyone has their favorite releases, to try to convince them to buy a short axle-to-axle bow and now buy a silly, stupid-looking release that feels awkward. It's just like, what are we doing with that? So we ended that pretty quickly in a year and a half or so, where we kind of got away from the releases and just started making bigger cams to feed you more string to get you to your longer draw lengths. I still sell some of those long releases. In fact, I have an order to get one out here this next week. Some people have really long draw lengths. They'll get a longer release from us because they know we make them, and they'll still use them. One guy who was shooting a Bowtech before the Bowtech made their longer draw lengths, and he's a basketball player with a 36, 37-inch draw. And he got one of our longer releases so he could shoot it.
That might be one of the longest draws I've ever heard of.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, that's a wingspan. Yeah.
Yeah, we get some guys that come down to Creek Archery. They're 31, maybe 31 and a half, and it's like, man, you really limit yourself when you start getting over 30 inches anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but there is some bow companies that are making longer ones. It seems like every year there's a certain line that will address the longer draw lengths. we would go to a 32 and a 24-inch bow with like the B24, and that's really stretching. And I got this one really big guy, and he's like 30, 32 and a half, and he's so proud of himself he can shoot a 24-inch bow with a 32 and a half inch draw length. But it took a little tweak, and we put in a slider grip on it. We pushed the grip forward, which increased his brace height, and we ran it out to the farthest settings, and we got it to where he could shoot it.
I got the B series bows pulled up on the website here, and I'm just looking at them now. The B36, the B34, and the B30.
Yep.
And they all come with a pistol style grip.
They do, yes. That's something that we made the grip where it wasn't part of the riser, so you could actually have different grip options. One thing we learned with archers in a hurry, that everyone likes something different. There's really no one size fits all. Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone wants this and that, and we just try to give them options that they can customize the bow and make it, ultimately their dream bow. However they want to set it up. Same with the draw length and the draw weights, and that is just in the feel of the bow. On our adjustable cam, we actually have 3 different settings, so you can actually you can program it for what you want your draw cycle to feel like. So it's all about adjusting the bow to the archer and not conforming to the bow.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Is you guys over the years, what's that evolution been like? It seems that the Gearhead Archery is really customizable compared to a lot of the, I guess you would call them standard looking bows, because let's face it, there's nothing on the market that looks like a Gearhead.
Right, correct. Unless it's a Chinese knockoff.
Get out there! Tell me there's not a Chinese knockoff.
Well, there is. Yeah. They're a tough company to catch, but it's like you can spend a lot of effort and a lot of money chasing a ghost. So it's like most people see our design. Like one person at the ATA show one year said, for them to knock you off, they picked the worst company to knock off. Everyone that sees that design knows it's a Gearhead. It's not like, you can say this or you can say that. It's just the brand has been strong enough to know that people see it and they go, that's a Gearhead. And even the people that shoot them, when they try to sell them on eBay or something, they're just like, that's not a Gearhead. What are you doing? So we actually have our own little army of police out there that kind of let them know. But that's kind of nice. But we got into the adjustability side because the first bows, like I talked about with that T18, it had one draw length. You had to use silly releases. Nothing was adjustable. The limbs were pinned in the front, so they were not adjustable. It had a draw length specific cam. But we just listened to the customers because they wanted things that they could adjust. So we migrated into that platform, and we also migrated into longer bows. As much as we like the T18, we played around with a 20-inch, and we could get some longer draw lengths with the 20-inch. And once we did the 20-inch, we said, well, let's do a 24, and we got some longer draw lengths with the 24. We made a 26 that didn't make sense because it was 2 inches longer, and the 24 gave you everything the 26 did. So we basically jumped from a 24 to a 30. But we are capable. We go all the way up to a 40-inch for some of the target shooters. That seems to be a size that some of the target shooters like is 36 to 40s.
Yeah, that's definitely in that target wheelhouse. Now, I guess one of my questions here, because I've not shot a Gearhead before, but I believe, Rob, that we're going to get that opportunity here when Skip's coming into Western Pennsylvania.
Yep.
I think it's May 28th, right, guys? That you guys are having an event there at Creek Archery?
26th, I want to say.
Okay, all right.
One of those days.
Plus or minus 2 days.
Yeah. If you come in the 28th and it's the 26th, we'll make sure we're still open.
Okay. All right.
But I guess my question I wanted to get to is, with those shorter to axle to axle bows, does that make the string such a severe angle, or does the cams kind of make it more of a less of an angle? Because that was an issue I had. Being somebody that's a 30-inch draw, I would like to get a shorter bow, But with other bow companies, the shorter I go, the steeper that angle gets on the string.
Correct. And that's, I mean, the shorter you go, the more acute the angle does get. I'm a 29 and I shoot a 24-inch bow. I don't even think about the string angle. I mean, honestly, it doesn't even come into play in my head when I'm shooting. The 24 is our most popular model we sell. I think it's easier for someone to go from a 30-inch bow to a 24 rather than go all the way down to a 20 or an 18. It just, you know, in their mind, it's too big of a jump to go down to a 20 or an 18. But we, you know, the 20 is a strong second with the number that we sell, but the 24, and then with the advancement in the tree saddles and stuff like that, the shorter bows definitely give you an advantage with any of your hunting techniques, whether it be a tree saddle, a ground blind stalking, you know, almost all of it. The shorter bows give you definitely an advantage.
Now, is that the Disruptor 24 that you're talking about, being one of your more popular models?
Yeah, either Disruptor Pro or the just plain Disruptor. And the difference of the two is the Disruptor has a draw length specific cam, and the Pro has a rotational module that will adjust 4 inches in draw length. So it'll go from 26 to 30. Put a slider grip on it. You can get pretty close to 30, 31 out of it. You know, and then the draw weights will go in 15-pound increments. So it'll go from 60 to 75 or 50 to 65, and just, you know, and then you can also bump the weights up a little more by changing the different draw settings. So for instance, if you go to the C post, it will bump the weight up another 5 pounds. So between the different string posts and your limb pocket, you basically have about 25 pounds of adjustability within that bow.
Man, these things are really, really, really adjustable.
Yeah. And they're almost intimidating for some of the shop owners. It's, you know, it's almost like I need to come in and just spend some time and say, oh, well, you can do this and you can do that, and then it converts to right to left-handed. If it's not set up, I can get from right to left-handed in like 15 minutes. If it's set up, you got to change your peat, you got your rest, you got all these other things. You know, it takes a little bit longer. But if it's just a bare bow, fresh out of the box, 15 minutes, you can convert it.
So you don't have to order them left or right-handed. You could just order.
No. But if someone knows they want a left-handed and they order, we'll build it left-handed.
Okay.
But like if you have one on your shop wall and someone comes in and they're a lefty, you know, for a lot of lefties, sometimes their bow is a special order and they don't even get to shoot it before they buy it, and then if they want to migrate into something else, they're kind of stuck with it. Where here you could flip it back to a right-handed bow and they're easier to move. You know, so
100%. And I love that feature because I shot left-handed for over 15 years, and I wound up switching to shooting right-handed. One, because I started filming, and it was so much easier to have that camera on this side. But the other reason is I really got tired of walking into shops, and I can't blame shops. I got tired of walking into a shop and, you know, putting $1,000 down on a bow that I've never shot. Never got to feel, never got to do the draw cycle, how it felt shooting it. Basically, I picked it off of looks, how the right-handed grip kind of felt in my hand. And I prayed that when it came in, I actually liked it, because then, like you said, if you don't, or you want to move on, you're kind of stuck with it, because there's not a ton of left-handed shooters out there. And I love that Gearhead, you're able to flip from left to right, and there's no additional parts.
I also think that left-handed bows, you know, tune a little bit harder than right-handed bows. You know, like when they're creating their riser structures and stuff like that, you know, like let's say they have an extrusion or whatnot, and they're water jetting that out. You know, the way that they're designed, they're kind of designed for right-handed. So when you make a left-handed bow, sometimes your forces and your properties aren't the same as something that was designed to be a right-handed bow, so that the tuning can be a little bit, I think, more challenging with a left-handed bow in some models. You know, that's just kind of what I've seen down the road.
You know, I never thought about that. Not once did I think about that. That, you know, the bows are kind of designed as right-handed there. You've got the angles and the cuts and the sweeps,
Sure.
and that's why I love doing these. You learn something new every night. Honestly, never would have thought about that.
I know one thing, being a right-handed shooter and trying to tune a left-handed bow is just about impossible.
Well, you guys used to get me to do it,
Yep.
but I've shot right-handed for so long now, I don't think I can shoot left-handed anymore.
So every shop needs a left-handed tech. Is that what you're saying?
Basically.
Yeah.
That's what they did, down at Creek when we'd get a left-handed one in. I was the one that had to try to paper tune it.
Sure.
But I've shot right-handed for so long now, I honestly don't know if I could go back to shooting left-handed. Plus my shoulder doesn't work out well on the left side anymore.
I'm seeing a bunch of different bows too. So it's not like, you only got a couple bows on here. You got from the top of the line to a bow that anybody can walk into a shop and pick up and take home with them.
Yeah. But the bread and butter is a Disruptor Pro 24. I mean, that does fit most of the people. If someone has a longer draw length, I'll put a number 6 cam on it. We'll call it a B24, and it'll go out to 32 inches draw length. So the chassis of the bow is exactly the same. It's just it's got a bigger cam, different string, and it can get to a 32 inch draw. So it just I like the number 5 cam, which goes from 26 to 30. It's a little bit more efficient cam. But if you're on the outer end of a 30 or a 32 inch, we'll fit you with the number 6 cam to get you to your draw length in a shorter platform.
And what are the let-off percentages on these?
We're pushing 85-90%, and that's programmable as well. So on the adjustable module, you have a limb stop and a string stop. So if you want to take off your limb stop and just play with the string stop, you'll have more of a spongy wall. But that'll give you your maximum let off, which in many cases is pushing, 85 to 90%. With the limb stop, we get that solid back wall that we all love to feel. And then that's also programmable where you got different hold locations where if you want to hold more weight, like if I'm hunting, I like to hold 6 to 7 pounds as my holding weight. And then if you look at a lot of your target shooters, some of them they're shooting, 15 to 20 pounds for holding weight. They want to be holding more. It helps with their accuracy, holding more weight and not being so, not enough pressure where it's equalizing. So, again, that's all. If you're the person you like to hold 10 pounds, you can design that bow to hit 10 pounds. Either using the different hold, placement, or you can go with different diameters on your limb stops, and it's all in controlling what the rotation of the cam is when you're at full draw.
Now, I wanted to mention this because you've said it a couple of times, and I kind of want to make sure we're covering all the aspects of the bows here before we move into different ones. You've mentioned a slider grip. Now, you guys have several different grip profiles and stuff. Can you kind of explain that to everybody listening and watching, what that can do and what benefits it has?
So the slider grip, in the neutral position, it has a 6.5 inch brace, and it has a series of holes both in the grip and the receiver. So you can actually move your grip in 1/4 inch increments forward and back. And you can move it left to right in 1/8 inch increments up to 3/8 of an inch left and right. So like if you're inadvertently putting some grip torque in, which is making it hard to tune, you can actually move your grip a little bit and do some tuning with your grip. I like to move the grip a 1/2 inch forward and get a longer brace height. I like to run a 7 inch brace height, just so they are more forgiving. And we actually, for 2024, we made the slider grip where it's a standard and not an option, because we were finding is a lot of people would get the standard grip, and then a month later they'd want the slider grip, and then they'd have to order the slider grip, and we just decided that let's just make that the standard and moving forward, and that's the grip choice. And then they can choose between a 1911 a flat back, and your standard, like a hunting style grip, like the one that you have up there right now, the kind of the swept back. The 1911 is a pretty popular grip, just from the standpoint where you can customize your side plates you can Google 1911 side plates, and basically the sky's the limit on what's available on that. I even had some custom stuff made for, like, we did a military bow that we'll be handing off to HHA here, and it's going to be a fundraiser to send troops to the honor flight and stuff like that. So I'm not sure. It's in their hands. They can figure out how they want to use the money for it with the military, but it's a total military bow. It's got all 4 branches of the military Cerakoted into the limb pockets. It's got a really cool grip. I wish I would have put it in my office here to show you, because it is really a cool looking bow.
Huh. That's pretty neat. All these grips. I'll tell you what, this is going to cost me some money.
Right.
Finally, a podcast is going to cost me money instead of you.
I look forward to seeing you guys on the 26th. I'm going to bring like 20 some bows. There's, all set up with different, if you have a 26-inch draw length, you have a 32-inch draw length, there's going to be something there for you to shoot. We try to set it up. If you want to shoot something super heavy, I'll bring a 75-pounder. I have made a couple Frankensteins. We did an 87-pounder for a guy out of Idaho last year, and it was a 20. I think it's a 24. And he goes elk hunting, and he wanted as much weight. Military kid, fresh out of and he's going to regret it when he's older.
I was going to say young and dumb.
Right now, he was enjoying the 87-pound. It's the only bow I had to put on the hooter shooter to test things out. A lot of times I like to pull it and feel it. Is like, there is no way at 58 years old I'm pulling an 87-pound bow. It's my arms aren't. And if I tear something, I'm done.
Yeah.
So you got to be kind of smart a little bit too.
Yeah, 100%. We, when we work down at the shop, we'll get some guys that come in with 80-pounders, and Rob and I, we normally like to hand them off to the younger guys. Like, here, you go rip your shoulder out trying to paper tune this thing.
It's almost like you have to warm up the 75 pounds too. Like, you got to grab some 65s and get some reps in, and then the 75s don't feel so bad. But you got to kind of limber a little.
Yeah, I went from shooting all that, 75, 80 pounds. Now I shoot 60 pounds, and that's it. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Perfectly happy.
Yeah.
I got one I'm saving for myself as I get much older. It's a 55-pounder, a Mongo that we no longer carry it. Dave Barnsdale would make the limbs for us, and they had a real cool curvature to them. It almost looked like a Mongolian bow, a Mongolian horse bow, where the limbs stored more energy. And it's one of those. It was our fastest bow, and it stored the most energy. It's just the limbs were a bugger to make, because you'd make a set, and then you had to rip them down the center, and then that had to stay the set. So if you got careless and you started swapping one limb with another, it'd be real easy to get things skewed up, and it just didn't want to tune. It made it kind of a bear. But if you kept everything in reference, oh my gosh, it shot awesome. Huh. But Dave got tired of making those limbs, and he's just like, Skip, maybe I need to go up and visit Dave and learn his skill. He could pass it on to me or something, and we can maybe bring that one back, because it did shoot. What helped with it was a combination of, when you were drawing it, the let off, and you got into the valley, and then when you got to your anchor, because of the position of the limbs, the way they were curved, it's almost like the whole system elongated back to your anchor. So it wasn't like all of a sudden you're just getting slammed back into your anchor. It just kind of let you nestle right back to your anchor. It was just, I'll bring one on on the 26th. We won't have one to sell, but just so you guys can experience it, and I'll bring it in like a 60 pounder or something, just so you can shoot it like a 2960. But it has a really cool feel to it.
Huh. Yeah, that'll be interesting. And I pulled up crossbows.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Why don't we? Did we miss anything here, Skip, on the normal traditional bows? I mean, it's basically everything. It just looks different. It has a shoot-through design. You can still add stabilizers to it.
Yeah,
the sight housings, do we have anything different there?
No, you can run back bars. As for rest, I mean, everything works. I mean, ham ski, vapor trail, you can go limb driven, you know, regular QADs. I mean, pretty much we designed it. Anything you can put on a traditional bow, you can put on these, you know. Even the position, which was the kind of a mistake that worked out good, is in between the riser plates. It's positioned where you can actually put a GoPro there, and I can turn it on with my finger. You know, with a pistol grip, I can just put my index finger and I can just turn it on, turn it off, and I can see the screen. And the basic, I sandwich it right between the limb plates, which is, you know, we didn't even think of that. It just happened. You know, it's just like, hey, what if we put a whisker, or what if we put a GoPro in here? And it's just like, yeah, that works. You know.
Now, when did you come out originally with crossbows as well, or is that something you guys have branched into over the years?
Well, back in 2008, I mean, when we were playing and trying to sell ideas, yeah, we were into crossbows pretty heavy there. In fact, we did a deal with Carbon Express where we were designing a production crossbow for them, and it was a reverse draw crossbow. But you know, this was back, I think, 2009, 2010. And they had, you know, they wanted to get to 400 feet per second. That's when the race to now 400 feet per second is not nothing for, you know, they're pushing 500 feet per second. But back in the day, it was like, oh my gosh, we're going to get to 400 feet per second. I remember in 2008, I had one that I shot 440 feet per second, and I had, you know, I was scared to shoot it. I mean, a crossbow's an explosion. You know, once it's cocked, it's an explosion waiting to go off, you know. And I don't know, from a dealer in that, I mean, there's two types of crossbows, those that are broken and those that are not broken yet is kind of what most people think about them. So we try to design a crossbow that doesn't have problems. You know, I mean, you can push the barrier with them, but you know, what's wrong with having a crossbow that shoots 370 to 375 with no issues? You know, I mean, I can hand cock it. We use arrows, so you can play with your spine. You know, we run the cock feather up, so the whole system comes higher, so you're not putting all that pressure on your crossover cable, so you get longer cable life. And, you know, and then on a couple of the models, we put Trigger Tech trigger boxes in them, so you got 2 pounds of no creep trigger accuracy. It's just, you know, they're fun, but they're getting to the point where, you know, they're pushing the boundaries pretty hard on the crossbows.
Yeah.
But I think I just want to have something that's reliable, shoots relatively fast, and I don't have any problems with it. You know, because nobody wants problems.
No.
So, and they have their places. I mean, I'm also a Pope and Young measurer, so I know that doesn't fit well in the Pope and Young side of things. But there's places for crossbows. But I also think if you're an able-bodied person, that you should be shooting a vertical bow. You know, but as we get older, like we say, our shoulders and stuff are, it's like we still want to get to the woods. We still have that burning desire to, sit in a tree and hunt and experience Mother Nature. It's like, well, who are we to say, what weapon you should use?
Right. Right.
So,
now, Rob, you see this a lot, being kind of the crossbow guy down at the shop. Would you agree with that they're pushing it so hard that it's causing more limbs, more strings, more cables just snapping?
There's like Skip said, there's an explosion waiting to happen. There's some crossbows that I'm scared to death to pull the trigger on them.
Sure.
And I do because that's why I go down there. I enjoy working on the crossbows. And I mean, I see a ton of crossbows that it's always limb problems.
Sure.
Delamination or crack or just completely exploding, or guys just sitting there with them cocked and they just explode.
Axles struggle too, especially, if you don't have enough axle diameter for what limb weight you're holding. That was some of the things we saw early in testing, trying to achieve 400 feet per second, that, you could shoot it 50, 60 times. But, to get to that speed, it's about just adding more powerful limbs. And then next thing at shot number 80 or shot number 90, you start to see your axles are bending a little bit, and you just see that it's hard on the components. And, we ramped her down, and I just want something that's reliable. And I think that's what we have in the market, is just something that, user friendly, reliable. And we're kind of doing a revamp on it. There's a few things that we're going to make more adjustable. The butt stock, we're going to make it so you can shorten it up or change the length of pull real quickly to go from a youth hunter to a full adult. That was, I go to the Harrisburg show. I didn't go this year. I think I should taken a couple of years off. That show is that's 9 days of, oh my God.
We actually spent about 30 minutes combing the property looking for you this year.
Did you?
Yeah, we're like, we're here. He was here last time. Where's Skip at?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those where Jason Bisbee always works it with me, and we kind of play a game with it. Like we break the 9 days up into three-day hunts. Like the first 3 days were whitetail hunting, and then the second 3 days were turkey hunting, and then we finish it out with a 3-day elk hunt. And we kind of break it up that way, because those 9 days. That one year I kept track. I worked like 1,470 some people through the shooting lane, in 9 days. I mean, that's how many people I was literally I was handing a release to one guy as we're shooting, and it was just like, it was nonstop every day. I would get there and go to the bathroom, and then I wouldn't eat or drink the whole day. And then as soon as they start shutting down, it's like, I'm running to the bathroom. It's just like, I'm like, I just needed to take a year off. We're moving the factory to another location, and it's just like, there's just too many things going on this year to do it. Maybe next year I'll come back again, but I miss seeing the people. I didn't miss the progress. but with the crossbows, we also make 3 different models. One of them breaks down. I don't know if you saw that on the website, where it comes in its own pack, and it has a precision dovetail that it basically, in the pack, it nests together, so it doesn't even look like it would be a crossbow. Our investor at the time was going on a hunt in Hawaii, and he didn't want to travel with a big crossbow type case, so we actually we chopped it and made it where it would travel super easy. When I travel with one, I just put it in my check luggage. I mean,
now which one's that, Skip?
That'd be the X16 Tactical, and it literally snaps apart and click. I can put it together in less than a minute. So I'll bring some of those on the 26th too. I'm not sure. Is your state a crossbow state?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, they passed that several years ago now, right?
Yeah, for everybody.
Are the crossbow kills higher than your vertical bows?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
I know, and this is, maybe I'm wrong on this. I'm sure somebody will correct me. If I remember right, the Game Commission wanted to introduce crossbows full time, because it was originally you needed to have basically a doctor's note.
Sure. Yep. Correct.
But their line of thinking was if they make it legal for everybody, it would increase license sales, the general license sales. Now, to my knowledge, that didn't really work the way that it planned for them. Basically, what it did is it took the same. We still sold the same amount of licenses in the state. We just converted more rifle hunters to archery hunters. All they managed to do was sell more archery tags, than actually bringing new hunters in the hunting.
Yeah, that's
where I was going with that Harrisburg thing I started talking about was the last time I worked it, like everyone that shoots a bow, I'm talking to them all the time, like, what kind of bow do you shoot now? Or what, I'm just, trying to learn. And it was really positive. A lot of the younger kids, I call them kids, but they're probably late teens, early 20s. They're like, well, I shoot a crossbow, and they almost felt bad about it. You almost, I shoot a crossbow, but I want to get into the vertical bows, so it was almost like, they want the challenge. So they learned on a crossbow platform when they're too young to pull a vertical bow, but now they've got to the point where they're late teens, early 20s, and they were wanting to shoot a vertical bow, which to me was very positive, for them to be wanting to do that. Also, too, another thing on the crossbow side, I mean, if you're not diligent and practicing your vertical bow, I'd rather have you in the woods with a crossbow. We don't need more wounded game, so I would rather. From a hunter standpoint, our job is to make clean, ethical kills. So, I'd rather, if you're not going to take the time to practice, you might as well just grab a crossbow.
Yeah. Yep. I feel the same way. Yeah. Don't come Friday night before the season opens Saturday morning to the archery shop and buy a vertical bow and shoot 20 yards and then go climb up in the tree stand Saturday morning.
That's still happens. I can't even fathom it, because I'd get a bow like end of May, early June, shoot the whole summer in preparation for the fall. And my thought of being an archery manufacturer in that is, once bow season opened, I have time to go hunting. Not even. That was so off the charts. I mean, I got come on Wednesday, want a bow so they can go for a weekend hunt. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I can't even wrap my head around that.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I noticed it more and more. Like, it seems like, I don't know, maybe people are just getting lazy.
Yeah. They're like, oh, I'm good. And it's like,
yeah.
I want to know everything about every situation I practice, kneeling down, laying down, sitting here, sitting there, for any possible scenario that could happen. And it's just like, it's not all just, meat and potatoes. There's a lot of different things that happen when the deer's coming in.
Yeah. I mean, me and Matt do a lot of, we'll start here pretty soon doing a bunch of 3D shoots,
Sure.
And I mean, I've been shooting this bow that I'm shooting now for a year, but you can never learn enough about it. And half the time I don't shoot from the pegs where they want you to shoot from.
Right.
I make it harder on myself. Or if we're at one of them special, 3D shoots where, you're 150, 200 yard shots.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff we like to do, because come bow season, that 15-yard shot is like a drop in a bucket when you're practicing at 100 yards,
I've also had situations with 3D shoots where I'll be like, I'm not shooting from the stake. I'm not going to break an arrow. It's like, I didn't come here to lose an arrow. I'm not turning my score sheet in. I'm just here to practice.
Yeah, that's basically what we do. We don't turn the score sheets in. We just go to have fun and, give each other a hard time, or whoever's with us,
Basically, it's whatever one of us left our lighted knocks in.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoever left a lighted knock in is losing an arrow.
Fun.
But Chris likes that part of it, because then he gets to sell some more arrows. So
there you go. There you go.
But that's interesting too, that the crossbow can use an arrow instead of the bolt?
Well, our initial thought was to make a weapon that would be both a vertical bow and a crossbow. So it's on a platform of our T18. So we basically took a T18 and mounted it to a crossbow and wanted to go back and forth. But what we found was when you draw the bow in a horizontal manner, it wanted to rotate down. And that's where we had to design the arms to go up and meet it and kind of create its own structure. And at that point, it became its own entity. At that point, it just became a crossbow. But like if you needed to change your strings and cables, exact same strings and cables that's on the T18 bow, same strands, same serving, everything's the same from a bow. Where if you look at a lot of your crossbows, those servings and strings they're thick, and that's why we can use regular arrows where others are using like a half moon or a flat back, or some of them have it where they actually click on a little bit too. That technology has come a long ways in the last 5 years as well.
Now, what are the T15?
That's a fun one. We Tim Wells came to us, and Tim's been a friend, and he kind of put that bug in our ear, and we kind of all jumped on board, and we actually 3D printed the first couple models, and then we before we had extrusion dies and stuff made, and basically it's a combination slingshot bow. Like it has the limbs from a bow and then the rubber tubing from a slingshot, and you can shorten the tubing. You can get a little bit more weight out of it. We've actually had people shoot, I think we're up to 5 deer, a hog. One guy shot the Grand Slam of turkeys with it, some raccoon, but mostly fish. I mean, we kind of built it for shooting carp and stuff like that, where we make a bracket so you can put your bottle reel on there, whether it be an AMS or a Cajun. And it's just a fun little device that some grandparents buy them for their kids because it's not draw length specific. It's as far back as the youngster can pull it and let it go. Ironically, we had the U.S. Olympic team got it down in Arizona. They use it as a training tool for the Ukrainian Olympic team back before there was war and fighting and all that. They found if they had good groups with that T15 when they moved into a recurve, their groups even got tighter, because if you're making mistakes, it makes your mistakes look a lot worse with the T15. So if you can narrow it down and bring your group in with the T15, when you go to like a recurve, your groups even get tighter because it's teaching you good form and good, alignment and stuff like that. Because if, for instance, that bow is totally tunable for you too. Like if you draw it naturally, and I call it butt high, when my string gets high and the arrow would fly funny, I can take that arm support and I can turn it into your forearm a little bit. You can actually tune it so you don't have to think about it. When you pull it back, everything comes in perfect alignment and you can fire. Consequently, if you're butt low, you can take that, you can rotate it up, and you can kind of design it for you a little bit on that. And just, just so it's comfortable. I need to make some more videos on that, just because I think that gets lost to how you can really shoot that pretty accurate. I'm going to take it on a bear hunt the next time I draw a Wisconsin tag. Most of the bear hunts, they're fairly close quarters with bait and that. So at 15 yards, I can hit softball about every time. So that's use a 2-blade Magnus cut on contact. It should have, at 45 pounds, it should have no problem with there.
I'd have to check into our laws here and see if we can use that here.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, Rob, one thing you might not know, now Skip knows a lot about bows, but man's also pretty good with a camera.
Yeah, you got to hang out with him out in Montana.
Yeah, he was kind enough to guide me and help me so that I didn't completely butcher our buddy Outdoor Dan's.
You would have done fine. You'd had no problems.
But I tell you what, he takes some phenomenal pictures. If you have questions when he comes in, I would recommend. He played with that camera more than anything that week.
Well, honestly, I would follow the bucks during the whole summer in the velvet and, positioning yourself to get the shots and that. I mean, that's kind of what we do. It kind of gets you ready for the hunt. Here's the drawback of having a bow company is I don't get to do that like I used to. I literally, I just don't have the time. And it's just, that's one of the drawbacks. I'm not whining. It's facts. It's just
right.
Like I don't have the time to do those type of things that really brought me into the point of what I love, and I just, as we go forward here, I'm just going to have to make the time because we're all getting older, we're not,
yep.
The days are going by quicker.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that because I used to have my own taxidermy shop and,
yeah,
I love to hunt, and having a taxidermy shop was the biggest mistake I don't want to call it a mistake because, now I can do that stuff for myself and it don't cost me hardly any money, but still,
sure.
It's the fact that, I missed out on a lot of hunting because I had a shop for 10 years.
Yeah. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a taxidermist, because I was so into the outdoors and I wanted to be a taxidermist. And I went to work for a taxidermist just part-time while I was in high school. And I learned in a hurry, if I wanted to continue to hunt a lot, taxidermy was not the correct field for me on that. And the guy that I worked for at the time, he became, he's the artist for Reinhardt targets. All of the targets you see that Reinhardt produces, the guy that I used to work for is a sculptor for him.
Oh, that's cool.
And, so we just have been friends for over 40 some years. And, it's just, we've gone hunting together. We're actually going on a bear hunt the week before I'm coming to Pennsylvania to your event, where I'll be in Canada on the 18th of May. So that's probably my first hunt the last time was when I was out with Outdoor Dan, and I didn't even hunt then. I was just running camera, but, at least I was out in the woods. But, it's been a couple of years since I've done that. And we're going up there to do it as more of a experiment with, we're going to be testing some broadheads and what is the perfect kill location for a bear. Brian's he's the anatomy hunter. So he's trying to educate hunters where the best shot is to make the best, quickest kill. And I'm going to be testing some different broadheads. I think I'm going to be shooting the tooth of the arrow.
Gearhead Archery. You have bows that start around $600 and come completely customized for a bit more.
We'll figure out this computer eventually here, buddy. I was trying to get prepared. I was trying to be prepared for when we ask Skip the next question. I can pop it up on the screen. I'll get there eventually.
So, buddy, do you want to let everybody know where they can find out about Gearhead
Archery? Well, you're going to be able to come to Creek Archery. You're going to be able to come to Creek Archery.
Oh, yeah.
In Western PA. But I mean, there's plenty of things out there to learn about us. I mean, you can Google it. There's a whole bunch of information on the World Wide Web. We have a website I think you've been playing on a little bit today here, and we're going to be diving into more videos on just how-tos, to keep the brand in front of people and things like that, with converting it right to left-handed and adjusting this and adjusting that, and just different things to show people.
Well, once me and Matt start playing around with these things, this could be another expensive journey.
Dan's pretty excited about his that he's been shooting. He's at least every other day he calls me and goes, Skipper, this bow, I gotta tell you, I am so deadly, and now when he misses a turkey, I'll probably hear that too. But
he keeps telling me that he's shooting more weight now than he was before.
Yeah, he keeps asking me, he goes, Skip, how's that possible? I'm pulling more weight and it's easier. What I don't understand. And so he's really fired up about it. You know, we've also done well in the competition too when we put higher contingencies. A lot of people, you know, they chase the contingency that we put out there, and you know, we have won Vegas 3 times in the bow hunter class. You know, so you know, we have some accomplishments on the tournament trail. I'm just trying to focus the company more from a hunting standpoint than the competition standpoint. I think once the hunters get a chance to shoot these bows and see how the smaller axle can actually give them an advantage, you know, they'll gravitate to them. And we're made in America, baby.
Exactly.
100%. Right out of Wisconsin.
That's a good thing right there. That
buy a bow, get a bag of cheese curds. That should be our next motto right there. Bows and cheese curds.
I know when I was on a job with the company I work for now, we were in Wisconsin. We were in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
All right.
I went to sleep. It was 45 degrees. I woke up the next morning to 2.5 feet of snow in the parking lot. And they delayed our job because we were working in an outside power plant. And
okay.
I ended up being in Wisconsin for a month and a half.
Oh my gosh.
And everything I ate had cheese in it. Everything. That's where I had my first experience with beer, cheese, and soup. Man, I couldn't get enough of that stuff. That's why I'm glad I don't work on the road no more, because you know, I don't get to eat all that good food.
I see you probably gained some weight up in Wisconsin.
Oh my, Wisconsin and Louisiana, those 2 states just about put 75 pounds on me every time I went there.
Huh.
But any more questions for him, buddy?
No, I think that's about going to wrap this one up here. We're getting there on time. The old Harley's fired up and heading halfway down the road by now.
That hour goes quick, man.
Probably need to stop for some gas, probably.
It could. Depends who's got the throttle. Well, Skip, we appreciate you taking some time here. We look forward to shooting these gearheads down at the Creek Archery. We appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for taking some time with us and taking a little bit of time out of your day for us.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks. Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I always enjoy chatting on podcasts, and I can't wait to see you guys in person. And hopefully a bunch of people come to Creek Archery to give them a go.
We'll definitely, there will definitely be a ton of people there. Every time we have one of these events down there, it's pretty good. So
cool.
Stick around. I guess we gotta run through a sponsor list here if you want to hang around with us for a few minutes, and then we'll chit chat when we're done.
All right, sounds good.
Creek Archery, find your passion and hunt it down. Stop down, see Chris and them guys down there. It is that time of year. 3D season starting. Hunting season's right around the corner. Get your bow all tuned up. Get your strings, your new arrows. I was down there the other night. A whole new line of the Ultra arrows came in. Micro diameters. New broadheads. Traditional equipment. Stop down, see them guys. Creek Archery, find your passion, then hunt it down.
Hillview Motors, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. New, used, certified, pre-owned. Head out there, check out all the inventory they have. Go inside and see the fantastic sales team. If you've got a service-related problem, you want to get the oil changed, brakes, tires, all that stuff, head back and the service department can take care of you. If you've hit one of these unfortunate critters or anything else that has caused damage to your vehicle, head back to the Collision Center, certified to work on many makes and models, not just what they have on the lot. Between the Collision Center and the detail shop, they'll have you back on the road before you know it. Check out the inventory at hillviewmotors.com, and remember, Hillview has it.
Duke Traps. It's one of our most trusted traps that we use here on the Keystone Experience. I've been running Duke Traps for over 30-some years. Bill Duke and them guys down there in Mississippi, they will take care of you when it comes to trapping needs. There's over 40 different types of traps that Duke makes. So you want to catch mink, you want to catch bobcats, you want to catch coyotes, you want to catch bears. They got a full line of products down there. Give Bill Duke a holler, www.duketraps.com.
Well, buddy, we were out putting some cameras out the other day, so we used a little bit of the Phantom Hunter from your buddy.
Yes, sir, from Deer P. Dave.
At Apparition Sense, it's what?
100% lethal.
No.
And you have got to try this stuff. We still got the Phantom Hunter and the, I'm drawing a blank now.
We got the hemp rope
The
with
hemp
the
rope's
Undertaker
out. Yeah,
and the
the
Nightmare.
Undertaker, and I am still getting cameras of bucks that have shed antlers that are still hitting these scrapes. So these scrapes were started in August. This stuff works. It is legit. You can look at our page. You will see pictures of this stuff being used, videos. Check them out. ApparitionScent.com. 100% lethal.
Chico Outdoors. Chico Outdoors is a nonprofit organization that promotes outdoor recreational activities such as hunting, fishing, and trapping, especially for veterans and youth. It's in honor of Andrew Chico Christ. His family is carrying on his tradition and passion for the love of the outdoors. Not only is Chico Outdoors organized the annual Outdoor Expo in April of each year, but they promote outdoorsmanship year-round, believing the younger generation is the future of tomorrow and vital to the continuance of outdoor recreational activities. They put the money back into the area, to the sportsmen's clubs, to the high schools, to the shooting teams. It's a truly great event and a great group of people. Check them out on Facebook and Instagram, Chico Outdoors.
Bow Creek Outdoors, the official trail cameras of the Keystone Experience. Veteran owned. They work on all three, what do they call them things, networks, platforms?
Yes, Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile.
And the distance on these cameras, picking animals up, you will see in upcoming posts that I have on a power line. I am picking deer up at almost 75 to 80 yards with these cameras in the dark. So, Bow Creek Outdoors, check these cameras out.
Don't forget the new wide-angle camera they got.
The BC32.
Yes, sir. Veteran-owned, Pennsylvania-based company. Head over to bowcreekoutdoors.com and pick yours up today.
Hey, it's getting to be spring.
Yeah, that Harley's already halfway down the road. Like Skip said, it's out of gas waiting for us to come get it. Or it's made its way up to Z&M Harley-Davidson.
Z&M Harley-Davidson. Tons and tons of new motorcycles up there right now. All the 2023 leftovers and 2024 models, CVOs, all the special edition bikes are all there. Upcoming events. Stop up at Z&M. Talk to them guys. Check out all the new gear.
Yep, don't forget to get your Reason to Ride pass. $10 goes to a local charity called Variety. You get to go to 14 different restaurants, get some food, and see some of the area. Follow Z&M on their Facebook page for all the events that will be coming out, or head over to znmharleydavidson.com.
A Back 40 Seed Company, Pennsylvania-based company. The seed is tested, grown, and established right here in PA. We use it. We love it. The deer, you have to you got to shoot them to keep them out of it. That's the only way you can do this. I mean, this seed company is phenomenal. They got a line of everything. They got the hideaway is a barrier that you put along your food plots so that nobody can see into your food plots if you have food plots close to the road. And once that barrier comes down in the winter, the deer love this stuff. There's sorghum and a bunch of other stuff in there. You got all kinds of different clovers and all the mixtures. So check out Back 40 Seed Company. Tell Roy and them guys the Keystone Experience sent you. Use our promo code Keystone10.
We got Weeby Knives. You know what they say about them, right?
What do they say?
They're wicked sharp.
They're not from Boston, dude. They're from South Dakota.
Hey, either way, they're still sharp. And if they happen to get dull with a replaceable blade, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3, and you're back into cutting up whatever you wanted to.
Skinning out raccoons.
Yes, sir. We did a lot of that this year. We also put the big game processing kit. You want to check out WeebyKnives.com. We can tell you they work well. I carry the Monarch every single day for all my normal tasks.
Yep.
And there's nothing better than using a replaceable blade for everyday tasks.
Yep. And I carry their multi-tool with me every day. So get yourself one. Check them out. www.weebyknives.com. Trapline Beard Oil Company. some of the best beard oil products out there. I mean, you can tell we both use beard oil products, and we've used a lot of them. This company right here, great stuff. Brian is a great guy. Tons of different fragrances or scents, whatever you want to call them. He makes stuff for deer hunting. I use the acorn scent all during deer season, never spooked a deer. So give Brian a holler. Check him out on Facebook, Instagram. He will take care of you. Tell him the Keystone Experience thing.
You know what, buddy? Sometimes things happen that we can't control. And that's why we have insurance. Make sure you give the Kelton Black Agency a call for your commercial, auto, homeowners, farm, and life insurance needs. We've worked with Kelton before, somebody we know we can trust, and is going to put the hard work in, making sure that we have the best coverage possible. So give him a call today for a quote, or head over to his Facebook page, Kelton Black, representing American National, and do business with someone who cares.
We got Forget Genetics, another Pennsylvania-based company. Minerals, feed, they have the salty log, they have lollipops, everything you need. We got some videos coming up here pretty soon of us putting this stuff out over the weekend, and I told Matt before we did the podcast here that I had to shut my camera down because it was going to cost me another $75 to add more time to it, because I just could not get the deer out of them Apple Jacks. They just would not leave. I got, 300 and some pictures in one night of these deer eating this stuff. So Forget Genetics. Get yourself some veteran-owned Pennsylvania company. Barry and his family, they work this place, and these minerals are unbelievable. So give him a call. Check him out, Facebook, Instagram. They will take care of you.
And if you like this outdoor-related content, you need to download the Outdoor Call Radio app, Android and iOS, 24/7, 365 days a year, outdoor-related contact. Hunting, cooking, fishing, you name it, Bigfoot, giveaways.
Tons and tons of giveaways. I know they're giving away a turkey hunt, a couple deer hunts. I believe there's a bow giveaway on there too, I'm almost certain. There's a bunch of stuff going on over there. Dan might be talking about Bigfoot right now. So download the Outdoor Call Radio app and answer the call.
And follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We will be on TikTok until Rob posts some more dead animals, and we'll be kicked off of that. And then you can find us on the YouTube. We have video episodes out every 2 weeks, along with different hunts, clips, reviews. So make sure you go over, hit that bell icon so you know when we put something out. www.thekeystoneexperience.com. New merch is up and running at unityprinting.com/TKE. We appreciate it. And Rob, take us out of here.
Hey, remember, shoot straight and keep the dirty side down.